Good morning, everybody. Welcome to Bet the Edge. It's Tuesday, December 20th. Thank you, everyone, for watching live on our NBC Sports YouTube channel. And shout out to you, those listening live on our audio version as well. Today, we got major price adjustments, Drew. The NFL market, it's looking different today. Quarterback and defensive MVP, or MVP, I should say, and Defensive Player of the Year. And, of course, we got to talk a little bull coverage today, games today and tomorrow on the slate. But the NBA hasn't been kind to me lately, so I'm going to let you do a lot of the dirty work tonight to finish up the show. Grizzlies, Nuggets, a lot more going on tonight. My Chicago Bulls are playing, and that is bad news for them. That's all I'm saying. All that and more. Bet the Edge today. Drew, how we doing this morning? Packers playoff tickets looking good, huh? I got some yesterday with you, buddy.
Oh, did you? You're riding with me on that?
Yes,
Not
sir.
a lot of
Let's
people
go.
buying that case, by the way.
Well,
I think
you're
it's
not
you.
the Orlando Magic.
Yeah,
So,
you and me and like maybe one other person in my extended family believes in the Packers. So part of the reason of getting involved yesterday before that game was because if they did take care of business and looked really good and just blew the doors off of the Rams, then the market was going to react and you absolutely needed to be one step ahead of that. Didn't really materialize. Aaron Rodgers still looks a little clunky. Still looks like he's dealing with a little bit of bumps and bruises, which is a bummer coming off of a extended rest and bye. He does, however, have a full complement of wide receivers now, and they all come out of that game healthy. So that's a positive outcome. Defense still a little sus for the Packers. They're going to have to get it done offensively. But all that said, it is still a pretty straightforward case, which is there's not a lot of other very good quarterbacks in the NFC playoff mix. And so if Aaron Rodgers gets his nose in there as the 7th seed, which again, he can't do just by winning out. He needs a little bit of help. Most specifically, we're looking for the Commanders to lose this week against the 49ers. We're looking for the Seahawks to lose now. All of a sudden, now the Seahawks haven't lost the NFC West. I'm ready for them just to lose out. They can get lost. That team is dead to me. But the realistic kind of hopes are Packers take care of business in Miami. Now they're dogs. I like them this week. Then at that point, they need to win 2 home games against the Vikings and the Lions. And at that point, you probably are punching your ticket as the 7th seed, unless some other crazy stuff happens, which, it's just never outside the realm of possibility. But the Packers get their way in. I like their matchup against the Niners with Brock Purdy. I like a potential second round matchup against an Eagles team that may have Jalen Hurts, but certainly isn't going to have a sharp Jalen Hurts, because Jalen Hurts is going to miss a couple of games here by the sound of it. It may be they may bring him back for the Saints game to see if they can clinch. I mean, that's obviously a hugely important win for the Eagles as a franchise because they get the Saints draft pick next year. So they would certainly like to see them lose. But the Eagles need one more to clinch. Minshew could get it done, but I wouldn't be surprised if we see one last hurrah from Hurts this season before they put him on ice until that playoffs. But if he comes out of that extended rest rusty, then all of a sudden I do think the door is wide open there for the Packers. They need to play better, though, especially on the defensive side of the ball. I think the offense will find their feet, but that defense is so soft sometimes. That soft zone, concerning going up against the Miami Dolphins, who have such dynamic weapons in the passing game this week. So huge one on deck on Christmas Day, Packers versus the Dolphins. And if they win that one, then I think we are in business.
Yeah, definitely concerning for the Packers. You saw how good the Dolphins ran the ball, too, in their past game. The Packers' rush defense, not the best as well. But the Packers are sitting at +5.5, Drew. I would love our producer, Johnny, to go ahead and pull the 5.5 numbers from the past 2 seasons as a road dog, because it is magnificent. It is a number that we want, Drew, back in the Packers this weekend. And where I got them at 8-1, they are now sitting at 6.5-1. So not much of a switch, but if they beat the Dolphins, we definitely will see that drop drastically. Segueing though perfectly, because Jalen Hurts no longer the MVP favorite. Of course, Cowboys were 1 point underdog or 1 point favorites. Excuse me. Now they're about 5.5 point favorites most markets. So we see already Cowboys on the right side with Gardner Minshew likely taking over for Hurts. Patrick Mahomes now taking over as the MVP. A lot of people were making the case for Mahomes over the last 2 weeks. He should be the clear MVP favorite over Jalen Hurts, and now it's not even a question. What do you think about that? And is there any way to attack this market, or basically it's long gone?
Well, I think everybody who regularly listens to the show has heard Jay and I make the case for going on a couple of weeks now that this was wrong player favored for the last 2 weeks. And so you could have gotten Mahomes at a plus money price when the market was just wrong. Now that we flip and Hurts is going to miss, 1, 2, potentially 3 regular season games, that makes the statistics disparity even greater between those two players. Everybody who is out there working super hard, carrying water for Jalen Hurts, trying to get him into the driver's seat for the MVP race, they were doing some funny things like adding his rushing and passing yards together for total yards. Again, a statistic that nobody is actually keeping track of. People are just looking at passing yards. And then if it's close, then they go to rushing for a tiebreak. But people were insistent on adding his rushing touchdowns to his passing touchdowns, because the reason they had to do that, that's the only way you can make those two players' statistics look even close. And, Pat Mahomes isn't going to, he's not going to get the 1 seed now without help. But that said, if he just kind of plays Pat Mahomes football that we know it down the stretch here, and wins games against weak teams, and continues to put up decent numbers like we saw him do against the Texans, then I think this is his award to lose. It's been 2 years of Aaron Rodgers getting the MVP award, so there's not really any voter fatigue here. I think everyone who follows football closely would tell you with zero hesitation that if you redrafted the NFL today, you would take Pat Mahomes as the number 1 overall pick. Every single person involved would, I believe. He's the best player in football, and him getting the MVP sounds completely reasonable. Now, PointsBet is out there on an island, way out there, minus 325. That implies a little bit too much certainty for me, because you do have one very high profile game between current number 3 and number 4 choice, although I think they should be the number 2 and number 3 choice. And Josh Allen and Joe Burrow, they play Monday Night Football, second to last week of the season. That is going to be the highest profile game that we see of teams that really matter in the playoff race now. Now that Hurts is not playing against the Cowboys, that kind of loses a lot of juice. But, that Josh Allen Burrow head to head, if one of those two players really pops in that game, particularly in my opinion, if it's Josh Allen and he lights up the Cincinnati Bengals and clinches the 1 seed in the AFC in doing so, that he's going to get consideration entirely conditional on Mahomes having some stumble. So, 2 things have to happen. Allen has to blow doors off in that Monday Night Football game, and Mahomes has to, stub his toe. But I still think minus 325 is a little bit aggressive for Mahomes. My fair price on him would be about minus 200 right now.
Yeah, certainly can't lay minus 325 on anybody or any futures play, but I like the value there and how you broke down Allen versus Joe Burrow at 6-1 and 7-1. I mean, I think that could be worth a little snack if you already have Mahomes in your pocket, just as insurance. I can't see Jalen Hurts, though, coming back against the Saints or the Giants and really earning that MVP ticket back his way. So I'm with you there. I think it's kind of a pass now. If you want to take a little snack money, you can. But a market that's more wide open now. And how you guys felt about Mahomes, I felt about Nick Bosa a few weeks ago. And I was saying, he's sitting at 5-1, 4-1. Doesn't make much sense why Michael Parsons was laying minus 200, minus 300 for Defensive Player of the Year. And now we see Bosa laying minus 125, Parsons minus 105. Almost even money on the two. I mean, how are you approaching this one? Do you have either or in your pocket right now?
Jay talked to all of us, I think, into Bosa a while ago. And, it was a pretty straightforward case, which is, yes, everyone agrees. At the midpoint of the season, I think they did a straw poll among likely voters, and Micah Parsons got 99% of the first place votes. Like, everybody just agreed. Yeah, Parsons is the best defensive player. He has the best statistics at this point. And Dallas, at the time, was perceived as a top 5 defense. Now, they have accrued a number of significant injuries, not just kind of frontline starters, but depth pieces as well. And as a result of that, they have had to utilize Micah Parsons in different ways. So he is no longer sort of the premier pass rushing specialist for a good defense. Now all of a sudden he's kind of the guy with his fingers in the dike, trying to keep the water from spilling through, and it's affected his ability to compile counting stats. And in general, you look at some of the scoring outputs of the, Cowboys opponents, notably last week conceding 40 to the Jaguars. And it's easy to see why people are like, well, that defense isn't playing as well anymore. I'm not exactly sure he deserves this credit because, oh, by the way, the Niners have stormed up to the number 2 seed potentially if they win out. And that is not because of Brock Purdy. Sorry, Purdy fans. I'm sorry. Like, I will continue to tell you what I think is the reality, which is the Niners are doing it because their defense is playing at the top level that we have seen in a while from any team, let alone a team contending for a top 2 seed. And for those reasons, Nick Bosa is now your favorite because he would get the award as a proxy for the Niners defense being, the best in the NFL, particularly to close the season. If the Niners ultimately have a chance in the playoffs, it's because of their defense. And Nick Bosa, by the way, has the counting stats. It's pretty impressive that he's here, even having missed a couple of games early in the season with injury. So like, if you go kind of by rates, his pressures, his sacks are even more impressive. But he is carrying the best defense in the NFL from just from an outsider's perspective. And so for those reasons, he's now the favorite. I don't know what Parsons can do to get back into this race. I don't think he can realistically flip favorite over Bosa unless he finishes with 2-3 sacks per game coming down the home stretch here. A big potential high leverage moment was the game against the Eagles. If he goes into that game and shuts down a live Eagles team with their starting quarterback Hurts, then now I'm listening. Now Parsons is live. But, I don't know that he's going to get the credit for the Dallas defense turning it around against a backup quarterback. Still remains to be seen who else the Eagles hold out of that game. I don't know if you really put guys like AJ Brown, who's an injury risk. I don't know if you put guys like Lane Johnson, who's dealing with injuries. Those guys may get the day off. Looks like they've activated Dallas Goedert, so they're not completely going to punt on this game. But certainly there could be other players that miss here for the Eagles. And if they're on the offensive side of the ball, then that takes even a little bit more steam away from Parsons getting the credit and being able to flip Nick Bosa. And then on the flip side, Nick Bosa's schedule coming down the home stretch, rocking chair easy. He is going to be able to continue to compile stats. He may get into the high teens here from a sacks counting standpoint. His pressures are all very meaningful if you watch their games. So I agree with this market. I think it's only going one way. And the only thing that could realistically change is if Parsons compiles stats. So let's assume you're not invested in this market at all, but you like the idea of Parsons being able to close the gap. Go find some sack props. Bet him sacks over every game. He could still hit all of those sacks overs and not get the award just because the Niners defense is perceived as so incredible. So that's my general read on that market. Does all of that check out to you, or do you think there is a case to be made for Parsons at this price?
I think we should take that entire breakdown and put that all over the websites that we can, to be honest. I agree with you. I feel like Hurts being the MVP favorite for a while is because of his team doing so well. And now Bosa kind of gets that in his favor over the Cowboys. And you said that rocking chair lineup that they face down the stretch. I mean, it's Washington, Las Vegas, and Arizona. Sack City for Bosa. I mean, Derek Carr, you're going down. Taylor Heineke, you're going down. Arizona, we don't have to say what's going to happen there.
Trace McSorley, you're going down?
I mean, they might sign my boy Terrell Pryor. It's getting so bad in Arizona.
That's not crazy. That's not crazy.
It's so bad. But one quick stat and then a viewer question here. So that stat for the Packers plus 5.5.
Yeah.
So 5.5 is obviously a very tempting spot for a home favorite because you need them by a touchdown, Drew. So Johnny calls it the Royal Mint spot. Johnny's our producer. Since the start of last year, 14-5 ATS, 10-8-1 straight up.
Wow.
Our 5.5 road dogs in the NFL. Christmas in Miami sounds like a party for Green Bay. All right, our viewer question is on Christian Watson in this offensive rookie of the year race. Drew? Obviously, we like the Pack go for the 7th seed. I mean, how's the value on Christian Watson then?
So there are people out there that have a dead read on the offensive rookie of the year market. They are not me. I have yet to make a plus EV bet in this market in the entire cycle so far. I looked at the board preseason and I'm like, throw a dart. It could be any of those guys. I mean, Garrett Wilson was the most likely guy for sure in my mind coming into the Mike White experience. Getting rugged for Zach Wilson was very, very bad for Garrett Wilson. Zach Wilson is not going to all of a sudden figure it out. We know that now. He went up against the Lions defense and was airmailing passes and is playing with zero confidence. I do not think he turns the ship around anytime soon. And you can see the visible frustration with Garrett Wilson on a bunch of those plays where he created space and was wide open and should have been able to basically put this award away last week. I think the door is open for someone to steal it. Christian Watson doesn't have quite enough volume over the balance of the season to warrant it. At least from what I look at, just kind of the overall counting stats, like his yardage, his receptions are way, 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 way off the top two guys in this market, in Wilson and Olave. And, so I think realistically, he needs to have some absolute blow up games at the same time that the Packers storm their way into the 7th seed. So are those two things, is there a correlation there? Yes. Are you better off just playing a same game parlay with Packers money line and Christian Watson yards over than taking plus 800? In my opinion, you are. I think realistically, Watson, again, kind of in the same concept of, Micah Parsons could blow up, have sacks every game on the way in and still not win. Christian Watson could have 150 yards a game the next 3 games as the Packers play their way into the 7th seed and still not win. Like, that's possible. So I think choosing another avenue to try to capture value is probably the better play. But again, like going back to the top, I have not made a good bet in this market all season. So I'm really not the one to say one way or the other who's going to ultimately win.
I mean, this market's flipped favorites for a lot this season. It's been all over the place. I mean, Kenny Pickett was a favorite a couple times this year. We're laughing at that one now. But I do like your take on Watson. I don't know if I'd be running to the window on him, but he has had 46 or more yards in 5 straight games. The last game last night was his first time in 5 games not scoring a touchdown. And, of course, he had 7 touchdowns over 4 games. So, I mean, the oil is running hot or whatever they say. But I don't think Christian Watson we should be running to the window on him whatsoever yet. Real quick, Drew, did you bet the Patriots or the Raiders this weekend? Did you bet either?
I had some contest picks on the Patriots, but no actual skin in that game. But
I had actual skin.
Did on the Raiders, hopefully?
Yeah, on the Patriots.
Man.
Yeah.
Oh, man.
Okay, never mind. I just want to see if you were on the Raiders and I had to learn something, but nothing to learn there.
No, the Raiders were not the right side in that game. No way. Oh, that said, the warning signs were there that the Patriots offense was going to do something stupid. I mean, Matt Patricia is still at the helm. So, the idea that they were going to, specifically play their way out of that game, let alone make the game losing play when OT was, almost a certainty. I can't remember a loss that bad in all my years watching the NFL.
I mean, who knows? Mac Jones might have scrambled 50 yards, took it to the crib. That's particularly Myers thought. Anyways, on to bowl season. But right before that, make sure you guys go ahead and download the Roto World app. Receive breaking news all season long on your favorite players. Make sure you guys go ahead and take your phones right now on that screen. If you're watching live, you could scan it. It goes right to your phone. You download it. But latest injury updates, player news, much more right there for you guys. Go ahead and get that wherever you get your apps. As I said, it's bowl season. We got an article on the website listing every single pick from 4 different people for bowl season. So make sure you guys check that out as well. I will not brag about my picks, but there are 2 people on there that are 6-3. Eastern Michigan and San Jose State are playing in the famous Idaho Potato Bowl. If it was up to me, Drew, these teams would have to – they'd pick the coach and the captain. After the game, you peg the other mascot with famous Idaho potatoes as the champions. That would be their prize for the game. But they don't have anything cool like the Duke Mayo's Bowl going on after. But I do like the favorite here in San Jose State. Any of your sharp friends on San Jose State at all?
I have seen a little bit of action here, but I will be completely honest with you. There was excitement about bowl season before it started because we got a lot of good inside information on quarterbacks and players not playing. It has gone very poorly for the market makers betting college bowls so far. Saturday was especially bad. And I think that has scared a lot of people off from getting, too excited about any of these matchups. These are glorified exhibition games now. And for those reasons, people are still dabbling. There may be people out there who really have a solid read on, every single player who's taking the field for these teams and the motivations and the coaching and all of that are still able to win. But even the sharpest college football players that I know and talk to and get looks from, they seemingly ready to close the book on the season. So it's been play some pools. Make every pick in every game just so you have a little bit of, skin, not actual kind of big time swings financially at stake in any of these at this point. But I would say among the people that I listen to closely, it's about a 3-1 sides on San Jose State over Eastern Michigan here. I don't think being in the dead zone here between 3 and 6 is all that critical. San Jose State either shows up and takes care of business, or they could potentially lose this one outright. So yeah, Spartans or pass.
Yeah, Eastern Michigan hasn't been the best bowl team either. That's just one thing. A lot of people like looking at bowl stats and how these teams have been historically. Obviously, the past few seasons, it's been a madhouse with all these opt-outs, coaching changes, NFL draft optees. But Eastern Michigan and San Jose State, two teams that don't get affected by that as much. But EMU, 0-4 in their last 4 bowl games, dating back to 2016. And they have one stat, though, that I really, really cannot back no matter who you are. They are ranked 128th out of 132 teams in red zone defense. There have been 46 red zone attempts on them, 43 touchdowns, or 43 scores in general. So that's a 93% rate. San Jose State's defense, they are 6th in the country in red zone defense, and 26th overall in total defense. So I'm going to keep it simple, stupid. I took San Jose State minus 3.5. I haven't had the best bowl season, but we've had much better luck taking player props because that's when the opt-outs, in my opinion, really matter, Drew. We thought SMU really mattered when Jaron Hall for BYU sat out, but BYU wins. So, you do get caught in some games like that.
Yeah.
So, yeah. But another game, though, I really do like, and the roofclaim.com Boca Raton Bowl between Liberty and Toledo. I was going to make fun of this bowl and say, how come NBC Sports doesn't have a bowl, but roofclaim.com does? But when I checked it out, roofclaim.com actually is pretty cool. After Hurricane Ida, they're doing all the repairs down in Florida. So actually really cool. And this bowl game is in Florida. Toledo, Liberty. Toledo laying 3.5. Teams look very similar, identically statistically, but Liberty down the stretch, 0-3 ATS, 0-3 on the money line. They were heavy favorites, double-digit favorites in all 3 games, but they had quarterback issues playing a second and third string quarterback. Now those QBs have had, 2-3 weeks under center, time to practice, prepare for the bowl game. Makes me like Liberty here. I did play them a little bit at +5. It's now down to 3.5. There might still be some value on the flame, but I don't know if I'd be telling people to run to the window here, Drew. What are you thinking?
Yeah, I agree with that general sentiment. Liberty, to me at least, looks to be one of the most impacted by transfer portal, by coaching change. And oh, by the way, Liberty was not good down the stretch. They had some absolute stinkers. It's not the same team that had kind of magic the last couple of seasons. I think realistically, if you're not playing well to close your season and then everybody's ready to jump ship, I don't know how you get up for this game. Toledo, on the other hand, they may even get a little bit of crowd support. The MAC travels pretty well, and particularly games in Florida. So you may see, some Rockets fans in serious numbers down in Boca Raton. It looks to be a little bit of a tricky weather game. I know the wind is only called for 12, but I've seen some forecasts that are a little bit higher. And, I think neither of these teams is really going to be able to air it out anyway. But that does, again, lean into a little bit of a look for the under and a smaller, I would say a smaller positive edge on Toledo here. So I get the line move. It's already, it's come out from the opener of 1. And some spots out to 4.5. And I think that's right. This would, in my opinion, this is not coming back to 3. You're stuck in the dead zone here, hoping that, Toledo runs away with it.
Yeah, I have to agree. Like I said, I grabbed Liberty at +5 at its highest point, and I saw the spread. Now, I'm thinking more, it might be more of a Liberty play, especially when the coaching change happens. You don't know how teams are going to react. We saw how North Texas reacted. They played a lot better, more inspired. Maybe Liberty can get that after Hugh Freeze goes to Auburn. They got a DC coming in now, stepping up to be the coach. So it's going to be an interesting game for sure. But if Toledo's got some crowd support down there, like Drew said, that might be a little edge here. PFF certainly shows a significant edge to Toledo. Rating them 68.5, Liberty 52.9 with all the guys they have. And as we said, Liberty's quarterbacks have not been the same people. The same guy they started the season with, Charlie Brewer. So, I think we'll agree. Toledo is the side. Fade me. in our NBC pool, Liberty +5. R plus L carriers, New Orleans Bowl, Western Kentucky, South Alabama. Drew, do you know that South Alabama joined the FBS? I want to say about 10 years ago now.
Wow.
They've never won a bowl game in FBS play yet. They've been to a couple, but they've never won. And here they are laying points to the Western Kentucky Hilltoppers. Any read on this game in general?
Yeah, the under looks like a play. You have an elite rushing. Like you have an elite rushing attack for the Hilltoppers going up against the strength of South Alabama's entire team, which is their rushing defense. We kind of talked about this when we sort of set up the bowl. Just handicapping 101 for bowls, you can basically just kind of zero in on, the running games, because that's more stable between regular season and bowls than anything that's going on in the passing game, just because of the, changing personnel, because of the extra time to kind of tweak the run, the passing game between the regular season and the bowls. You sometimes get great results, and sometimes, in the case of like a Wazoo, get horrific results. That said, I think this looks like strength on strength for the key matchup, which should keep South Alabama in this one. I'm surprised that South Alabama is 4.5-point favorites. This, to me, I would have guessed this was like a pick-em-ish type of game. So potentially there's something going on with the New Orleans Bowl that I didn't get the mail on in terms of player availability here. I know that our PFF friends think that this is a little bit of an aggressive price for South Alabama. It should probably be inside of 3. And that's basically where I stood as I kind of look at my, compare notes here with what PFF is posting.
Yeah, 3 out of 4 of us in our pool took Western Kentucky +4.5. I don't know if that's good news or bad news, but South Alabama did close the season when there was a 5 straight, 8 of their last 9. WKU won 3 of their past 4. So one stat I did stand out to me was Western Kentucky's against the spread record versus winning teams this year, 4-0 ATS. That did stand out to me, something that I don't think should be, passed upon. South Alabama, don't know if they should be laying as many points. As you said, though, it's a kind of a dead zone here, and they were 5-5 ATS's favorites. They were favorites in almost every single game they played this year. So I feel like this could be a correctly priced game. Not a lot of opt-outs here, not a lot of value, but we should have a prop on this game in our group chat. We were talking about it. So once they drop, make sure you follow us on Twitter. We should have something good for you guys. So any other look-ahead spots for bowl season at all, Drew? I am on Air Force. The service academies, 13-3 ATS in their last 16 bowl games. Sign me up. Everyone wants to bet Baylor. I'll take Air Force.
Yeah, that's a fun one. It is the Armed Forces Bowl after all. And in general, you never have to worry about motivation when it comes to the academies. They're going to come up. They're going to come and give you 100%. Doesn't matter who the opponent is. Doesn't matter what the matchup looks like. That's sort of the way they treat those games. So that's a fun one. I'll ride with you on Air Force there. It didn't have any action in that one. And oh, by the way, Air Force's rushing statistics are elite. Yeah. This team is almost getting 6 yards per attempt, it seems impossible. Now Baylor's run defense is fine. It's not their absolute strength, but this definitely puts Air Force in the mix. And I get the total being down at 43 kind of suggests that you might have a shortened game here just because of how much rushing there's going to be. Not a lot of clock stoppages.
Well, I feel dumb because I took Air Force +5.5. I only took the under 48 for half a unit, Drew. For half a unit.
Good. Well, that was a good play.
I mean, not good enough. Not big enough, I should say. It was a good play, but not big enough of a play. All right. Well, Air Force and the Armed Forces Bowl sounds like a no-sweat bet to me, ladies and gentlemen. Just a reminder, if you guys don't have the NBC Sports Digital app, go download it now. The contests are free, easy to play. You get to win thousands. Bowl season, Premier League, and Sunday night 7. This one is on Christmas. All right, so after you eat with your family, you're laying there, you got your belt unbuckled, you got your stomach out, just go ahead, download the app if you don't have it already. 100K up for grabs for free. Bucks and Cardinals, Sunday night 7, NBC Sports Predictor app. It's going to be a good one. Hoping Tom Brady pulls it out, but I wouldn't mind seeing a Cardinals dub. It's Christmas. We want some money line action. All right, NBA, Drew. Grizzlies, Nuggets, headlines the NBA. Ja Morant, Nikola Jokic. We got a big slate. What do you think in this game overall? We see a total at 233.5. Makes me want to bet some John Morant or Jokic props. But as I said, you're doing the dirty work today in the NBA.
Yeah, this one is dead even in terms of matchup, as far as I make it. You have your number 1 and number 2 seeds, rightfully so, in the Western Conference. These aren't a product of soft schedule. These aren't a product of light travel. These are the 2 best teams as currently rostered in the Western Conference. So it's an exciting matchup. And if you're looking at the market and saying, wait, if there's not much separation between these 2 teams, why is Memphis on the road laying 1.5? This is flipped favorite here, where the Grizzlies are now, meaningful favorites in Denver. Altitude will be a factor. Memphis, though, is not tired. Memphis has had a very light schedule of late, so they are coming in with relatively fresh legs. Would not expect altitude to be much of an issue unless this game goes to like overtime or something. But that said, that Memphis does come in slightly healthier. The only meaningful piece missing is Desmond Bane. He remains out with the big toe sprain. I can kind of not really wrap my head around how long he has missed and how serious this injury must be, because Desmond Bane he made such a huge leap forward at the beginning of the season, and then it's been tough to see him miss this basically entire middle month and a half here. But the Denver Nuggets are not coming in especially healthy. The most important player on the court for them, Nikola Jokic, is probable. He has a right knee contusion. I think obviously he plays, but he's definitely some potential that he is not 100% in terms of his movement and mobility, and the entire offense runs through him. The other key players with questionable tags here are Jamal Murray and Kentavious Caldwell-Pope. Either of those guys miss, and this is probably going to move even more in favor of Memphis. Memphis is deep. Memphis is young. They are going to be live in this game for sure. And if I had to make any play, I'm holding my nose and playing an under. 234 is really, really, really high. And Memphis has a kind of a funny signature. Like, you look at their offensive rating, you look at their net rating, you look at some of their results. When they are comfortably in control of a game, they pour it on. Like, they can get you into the 130s pretty, without really, pushing especially hard when they are well ahead in a game. They're so good in transition. They have so many ways to hurt you with their bench that they really only get these, super duper elite offensive statistics when they are, winning with margin. So the flip side is true to a degree. When they are in closer games, when there are some back and forth, we do see a trend to the under. And so I think at this very robust 234, the potential that some of the important offensive pieces for the Nuggets in terms of Murray and KCP may miss, this looks like an under 234 to me, or pass entirely on the game. But I think you got to watch either way. This is potentially a playoff matchup. This could be your Western Conference Finals. I think you want to know how these 2 teams match up against each other generally, and what schemes each of these very, very smart coaches tries to utilize to attack the opponent. That's going to be important to kind of keep mental notes, if not actual physical notes, for the playoffs. So important game to watch.
Yeah, the Grizzlies, I love what I've been seeing of them. Yeah, buying some value into the Western Conference odds. I wouldn't talk anyone off of that. I got the John Morant MVP ticket. I pretty much consider it dead, but I would love them to bring it back in here. But the reason why that total is so high, Drew, is in the last 3 games, the 2 highest paced teams in the NBA are the Nuggets and the Grizzlies.
Yeah.
But defensive rating wise, the Grizzlies are ranked 3rd, Nuggets are 15th. And if Jokic or any of those guys are able to go, I think your under look is definitely going to drop a few points. Grizzlies go out a few points. So early looks, early advice based before injury reports are Grizzlies in the under. Best piece of advice. I have 2 looks. One of them is because I'm a Bulls fan, and I'm not for longer. I think I'm switching to Celtics fan. Celtics / Magic, because I did get the Magic at 80-1, not that 120-1 you guys got. The Bulls are taking on the Miami Heat. They have looked dreadful their past 3 games. The Minnesota Timberwolves put up 150 piece on these boys. The Bulls ranked dead last in the NBA the last 3 games over defensive net rating. Your Miami Heat at one point, not anymore, Drew, are laying 4.5 or 5. I mean, you got to be telling me we got to fade the Bulls down in Miami, I'm hoping. And then there's one prop I want to run by you that really stands out to me today. That's Bradley Beal. His prop's in at 22.5 and 23.5 points against the Suns. The Suns are 7-point favorites, which kind of shocked me. But Bradley Beal, in his last 9 games against the Suns, has scored 26 or more points every single time. 26, 34, 35, 28, and 40 in the last 5. Am I missing something in either of these games? Heat only laying 4.5. Bill 22.5. Like, what's up?
I mean, it does feel a little low for the Heat, and there's no rest advantage really one way or the other there. The Heat have been playing, they've been playing well lately if you just look at their win-loss. Yeah. I will say, though, that 3 of those wins, oh, my God, they all could have been. Why weren't they losses? I mean, it would have helped everyone who loves the Magic to see them lose those games, and they managed to eke out some very, very hard-fought wins. That may be some of the reason that this is a lower total, a lower side here, where people are just expecting the Heat to play with their food a little bit and try to get a win late. Certainly Tyler Hero has been performing really well offensively lately. The entire rest of the squad, though, has been very hit or miss, and particularly just player availability in general. It looks like Jimmy Butler's going to go. It looks like we're probably not going to see Kyle Lowry, which is, that's not really mattering much. He's well past his prime. So the Heat are coming in pretty full strength at this one, and the Bulls, as you mentioned, are a very tough handicap. They might be one of the 5 worst teams in the league. They apparently they're not, Billy Donovan doesn't really have a good grasp of how to utilize his guys. Everybody doesn't really feel like they like playing with each other very much. I don't really know how to explain the regression you've seen from Zach LaVine. I mean, that guy is on a milk carton. It's been a weird season for the Bulls, and I hope they get the win, but I can't play that game. The Suns and the Wizards, on the other hand, I think the Wizards are a bet. I think the Bradley Beal, certainly the Wizards generally are kind of in the middle of a grind part of their season. They haven't won in freaking forever. They almost beat the Lakers on Sunday. I don't know if you stayed up and saw the end of that one, but it was a very, very close game. Bradley Beal is, in my opinion, he's missed enough time and he's rested enough that he should be sharp in this one. I like your look on his points over, but even better, I like the Wizards to cover the 7. I know this has moved a decent amount. It opened in the, you could have gotten 8. Let's see. Yeah, you couldn't have gotten 8.5. You could have gotten 8 earlier. 7.5 still available, though, at a couple of the market making shops. So give me 7.5 points for the Wizards. That's actually my favorite look on the board tonight.
Wizards have lost 10 straight games, but they got to snap it sometime, man. I feel like it's definitely going to be coming here soon. There's still a team that's been covering here or there, grinding here or there. So any other plays you like tonight, or Wizards top play? We call it today?
Wizards top play, and then I sprinkled a little Detroit Pistons money line. Bad spot for the Jazz. If the Jazz show up and win, so be it. I think the Pistons can get the better of this team in this spot. So looking for the Detroit Pistons to come through for me. Cade Cunningham obviously out for the season, but otherwise they have a pretty full squad. And I think, I think they have enough. I'm just not a believer in the Jazz being very good. And so I think, Pistons aren't very good either, but at home catching, plus money on the money line, I sprinkled a little Pistons.
Yeah, when I saw 2.5, I thought that should be more Jazz 4.5. So I feel like they're definitely telling you something about Detroit out there at home. I like that game a lot. A little bonus play for you, Drew. I'm on the Catamounts of Vermont. We're bringing them back +3 today, baby. We also played Virginia on the money line against Miami. And then we're fading Louisville, maybe the worst college basketball team in the entire country. So those are my 3 little college hoops plays worth looking at. Parlay, and you get 5-1. So go ahead, man. Get some action tonight. Hope you guys enjoyed the show and all of Drew's breakdowns. Lots of great advice on your futures tickets. Of course, college football today, tomorrow, and then NBA tonight as well. Don't forget to check out the website for more info. Help all you guys out with your wagers. Appreciate you guys watching live on NBC Sports YouTube's channel. Make sure you guys subscribe, like, and do the same on the audio version. We'll see you guys tomorrow.